Welcome to Eastgate Support, and this is Jacob. I'm doing a video about the Booster Board 2.0. We got my Booster Board here right now. This video is basically about the Booster Board 2.0. If you don't know, the Booster Board website has basically been out of stock for about a month now. Distributors have been out of stock for longer. If we jump to their website, we basically get a little message that's be the first to know, just hang in tight. So obviously they're planning to release something new. Now, what is it that they're planning to release? The Booster Board's been out for a while now, and they've released the two other versions. So they started off with just the Booster Board, and then it came out with the Dual Plus, the Dual, and the Single Drive. Now, basically, I think they're going to drop the Dual because from what I've figured out, pulling Booster Boards apart, the Dual is exactly the same as the Dual Plus. It's just firmware. Why would they manufacture a PCB that for the speed controller that's exactly the same minus a few components to make it less powerful? You just produce the same PCB, saves you money in the end. But look, that doesn't matter. This is about the Booster Board 2.0. So I think they're going to drop the Dual, and I think they're probably not going to be doing the Single. And if they do, it's probably not going to have the upgrades. But this is the process that you can go through. Your name, email address, and you can sign up to get some notifications. So what notifications have they been sending out? Well, nothing at all until just today. So I've got an email from Boosted, and the wait is almost over. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, it says right down here, 19th of May. Now, I'm in Australia, so it's already the 19th of May here. So I'm a bit itchy. But I would say, because it's California based, it's going to be like 2 a.m. my time. That something gets really posted out. And we're going to have a new Booster Board. What is the new Booster Board going to have? This photo that they've put up here is basically giving us a lot of information. If you look at the bottom section here, you've got the wheels, you've got that drivetrain there. That drivetrain looks exactly the same as that. That photo is from a view from underneath of the board. It's pretty much the exact same. The deck doesn't look like it's changed, so we've still got the Vanguard, which is an awesome deck in my opinion. Some don't like the Flex, I love it. So pretty much I don't think the drivetrain is changing at all. Up here is where we get a little bit of a inkling what they're doing. If we turn on my Booster Board, I get my light there, but there's only one light. In this photo, there's that one light and then a few status bars for a battery. Now, you might ask, why have they added that status bar? Pretty much, the Booster Board has an app. You can check the battery percentage on your app. You can press the main button on your remote and get the board battery output. So why would you want it on the board? Is that for convenience? No. The remote is more convenient than lifting your board up to see. So why would they do that? Well, it's simple. They're going to have a removable battery. Why are they going to have a removable battery? Because 7 mile range isn't enough. Yesterday I was riding my board, I was in the city, I was doing a lot of things, I was going to uni, and I ran out of charge. And I was about 2 kilometers away from the train station, and I had to carry my board plus my bag full of all my books, and it was a pain in the ass. I had my laptop in there and everything like that. The board's not heavy, it's only 6 kilograms, but when you're holding it in your hand for that period of time, you're like, oh, where do I hold it? This hand, backwards. Do I get a nice little bag to hook my booster board up to? Well, my bag's so full, it wouldn't work very well. So a removable battery is good. Basically, if we have the booster board here, and they just make this section right here removable, I can have something that's not that big in my bag. The removable battery is going to be a really good thing, an extra boost to your board, pun intended. The reason why booster board would go this route and not just a bigger battery is because they have a deck that's awesome. The flex in there is awesome. So why would they make it more battery? That's going to reduce the flex. It's going to reduce the riding experience, and then it's going to reduce the fact that you have a nice 6 kilogram board. So if you do run out of battery and you don't have a spare pack, you can chuck one in and it's still only 6 kilograms. So awesome move, booster board. This is all going to be finalized tomorrow. So I'm doing this video to let people know they need to be on the lookout to find this information. They'll probably give us a release date and then some pre-order time. I'll be jumping on that pre-order because that will be one of the best things to have, that external battery. Why though? There's people on YouTube adding battery packs, external battery packs onto their booster board. This requires modification. This means voided warranties. This means possible damage to your board. Different voltages going into the board means your remote doesn't work. Your remote basically gets information from your ESC. Your ESC is constantly reading how many watt hours are being drawn. It knows how much watt hours the board has. So then it can calculate, well, this is how much battery I have left. Every time you charge your board, it recalculates that starting voltage, which means as your batteries reduce in capacity, it's going to figure out the starting voltage. It's going to figure out how much capacity your batteries actually have and give you a very accurate calculated range and percentage than other methods. So as soon as you stick in another battery in there, that doesn't work anymore, and it won't work anymore, no matter what you do. I have a method. I have a PCB that I'm going to be doing a video about very soon, that I can stick any 10 cell or 12 cell battery onto it. It just plugs in, and then I plug it into the booster board, and it will give me a constant voltage output to then charge my booster board. I designed this myself. It works great, but still, that's an expense on top. I have to do it. I have to have batteries that I have to charge externally. This is all going to be robust, compact, and convenient. You buy it from booster board, they warrant it, and if you have any problems, you take it back to them. Obviously, for me in Australia, that's not the easiest thing because getting it here is the most expensive part, but it should be really good. The booster board with those LEDs, that is so you can have a board on charge while you're, a battery on charge while you're riding. You can see the battery percentage. If you have 2 or 3 batteries, I would say there's some sort of a button that you press and it will tell you the battery capacity that's left in there. So then you know you're not chucking in a dead battery into your board. This is really exciting, guys. I don't think they're going to be making much more of a change. Speed on the booster board. Legally in most countries, you can't go faster than your 22 miles or 35 kilometers an hour. You're just not allowed to. So why would they make it more powerful? It means that less people are going to buy it because they're worried about police. You already have people getting arrested for riding boosted boards in locations where there's signs or basically cops saying no, you can't ride electric vehicles in this area. And yeah, I would say they're not going to change that. The motors, I don't think they need to change anything on the motors. That board has a lot of torque, and why do you need more? I don't need more. I can go up a really big hill. I'm 95 kilograms and I can still go up the biggest hill in my street. So I don't need more power. I need more range, because when I go up that hill, my battery depletes. I've got an inertial motor here. The inertial motor is 6355. The boosted board motors are 50s, I'm pretty sure. Now, the stator in these motors are about 20 to 25 mil. I haven't actually pulled one apart to measure it, but the inertial motor, the stator here, is 30 mil. So you get a bit more torque out of this motor, plus the diameter gives you a lot more torque. But then what happens is you're running this off of a 1/2 or a 1/26 gear ratio. The booster board have engineered this thing to be powerful and torquey. You've got a 1/35 gear ratio, which means you're gaining a lot of torque in there, which means you can use those small motors. I know that some of you have probably seen videos online, the inertial Raptor versus the boosted board. Now, that demonstrates two products that aren't the same. Apples and oranges. I love my boosted board, and I've ridden the Raptor, and I've ridden my own products, my own hub motors. Basically, the boosted board drivetrain has been tailored for what it needs to do. The motor in there, they're limited to 30 amps per motor, which means that total power that's going to be drained from that battery is about 60 amps, maybe a little bit less. An inertial motor, the ESCs are set at 60 amps. That means that's 120 amps that can be drawn. Now the BMSs are basically set to about that 50 mark, but they're still capable of drawing that more power. The way that the speed controller in the Raptors is set up, you can actually have more amps go through the motor without it actually drawing the battery and the amps from the battery. So you can peak a lot higher. There's load limitations on these. You don't have your throttle curves and things like that. So I personally think if you reduce these down to 30 amps and you had the booster board the same, and then you did a throttle curve very similar to the booster board, you'd have very similar performances, apart from the top speed will be higher on the inertial. And that's good. And you probably still get a little bit more torque out of this, but it's heavier. The inertial Raptor is heavier than the booster board. Range is a lot more. So you need to weigh up what you like. But the booster board 2.0, I think it's going to be awesome. Hopefully those batteries aren't any more than $500. We're looking at 12 batteries inside of that if they keep to the current situation. You can buy those batteries for like $6 from China if you're buying them in quantity each. So it's not a huge amount of money that they're putting into it, but they got BMS. They're going to have a BMS in every single battery pack, or they're at least going to have a charging circuit. They might have moved the BMS into the speed controller more. They're going to have a charging circuit in there, so you can charge it while it's not connected to the board. And then you've got a clipping mechanism. They have to engineer it so there's no misconnections when plugging it in. This all costs money, plus they have to make some profit on it. So I think it's going to be around the $300 to $500 mark for an extra battery. The booster board itself, now, are we going to get a price reduction? $100 difference between the Dual and the Dual Plus. I personally don't think they're going to mess with the price. I think it's going to be the same, if not more. I heard from some distributors that I've personally talked to, the Dual, they were struggling to keep demand, well, to live up to demand, because it wasn't giving them enough money. So they didn't want to be making as many, because the setup was basically the same. So it had the same motors, it had the same speed controllers. No matter what they said, it was all pretty much the same. So if you're anticipating this and you're waiting for booster board, obviously you can't buy a Dual Plus. If you're okay with the 7-mile range, buy a second-hand one. There's going to be huge amount of people on Facebook, San Francisco booster board page, on Reddit, on YouTube, anywhere you can really have a booster board community. There's going to be second-hand boards flying out everywhere, because people will just want to upgrade and they'll want this range, because that's the biggest thing. So if you want a boosted board tomorrow, when all the information's released and the shipping date, you're probably going to then be able to gauge people selling them and what they're going to be selling them for. So look out for that. Look out for eBay, Craigslist in Australia, Gumtree, whatever it is. They're going to be selling them because they want to upgrade. I'm going to be posting this video on Facebook pages, Facebook groups that I'm a part of, on my Facebook page in Australia that I run, on the electric skateboard communities, whatever. I'm going to be posting this video. I want to get as many views on this as possible. We've got one day before this video becomes obsolete, so let's crank it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be doing a video as soon as they actually release the information. I'm going to be giving you my review on what my opinions are of what they actually have done, and then I'm going to be getting a booster board and then comparing it to this one. So the previous Dual Plus to the new one. So thank you very much for watching. This is Eastgate Support, giving you everything about electric skateboards.